And this one is really important. This one is I'm fascinated about here. Listen to this one, okay? It gaslights you and it makes players miserable. All right, let's take a look at some of these posts here. Basically, I want to try to do a consistent series if we can, where at least every 3 or 4 weeks, we look through a bunch of Reddit posts, some educational stuff. I give my thoughts on whether I think it's good advice, bad advice, or maybe a lot of these are going to be more questions that we can kind of go over on stream. I don't like doing React content if I don't have anything to add. So we're going to focus specifically on pieces of content that I can provide some advice or some insight on the player either asking the question or talking about the topic itself. So obviously I think this will be a lot of fun. Maybe this will be a series moving forward. I'm calling it just Town Center for now. Kind of an Age of Empires reference there. I'm insufferable, but yeah, we'll go from that. Okay, going to bed early, playing in the morning, the real hack. If any of you are like me and you feel like you're too old and too slow to play games, just know that as an adult, you have a superpower most of the kids can never have: discipline. If work all day and that's where your energy goes, naturally you don't have anything left afterwards, then you play tired, lose tilt, then lose more, then start to get toxic and resentful. Go to bed. The game will still be there in the morning, I promise, even after you have your coffee. This is actually really good advice. I think it depends on how serious you are about the game. It's not that late night gaming is bad. It's just that late night gaming doesn't provide you the same level of competitive output. I think one of our biggest crimes is treating mental energy and physical energy like they're two separate things, when in reality, everything that we do requires energy. And with video games, the ability to improve and apply yourself is based off of your ability to focus and your ability to apply energy and effort. And that is a finite resource before you sleep or eat or rest or whatever else. And whenever I played to improve, I always played in the early afternoon or late morning. I never ever played at night. I found all of my nightly sessions to be very difficult. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't improve when you play later at night. It's just essentially playing with ankle weights. And the problem is that's kind of, there's like this idea of like playing video games for fun, playing games for improvement. We've always historically treated video games as this fun, just silly thing that we do whatever, we're not treating it seriously. But if it is fun for you to improve, then you need to kind of break the stereotype of when video games are played. And I think playing them early is a huge thing. So this lines up with my experience. This lines up also at the professional level. For example, the last season of the Overwatch League, the first season in the second to last season in Overwatch League, and then this was the first season in Overwatch 2. Our team actually scrimmaged every day around 10 or 11 a.m. They'd get up, they'd do a little bit of exercise, take a walk, get some food, warm up, and we would start scrimmaging at our 10 or 11. And the quality of our scrimmages were much, much higher compared to previous to that, where non-professional players had to generally like scrimmage after school or after work around 6 p.m. EST, and the quality of the scrimmages generally were a lot lower. So this is very good advice for improving the quality of your gameplay. I don't know about the quality of games. In my experience, the quality of games earlier in the morning was fine. Didn't seem to be a big issue, but generally the player base is a little bit smaller. But yeah. Okay, Counterwatch is in your head. Many players seem to think that Overwatch is like rock, paper, scissors. D.Va is already a tank, rock, paper, scissors. Yet, in my opinion, I think that team coordination and skill are above anything. Many tanks will be forced to switch by their teammates, but the truth is that Counterstop is only good if the whole team plays around it. If the whole team plays dive, yada, 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 a lot of players will play characters they are not good at for the sake of counterstopping. This is very true. The truth is in Overwatch skill and direction or anything, I'd love to hear your thoughts and takes on this. So my take is that Counterwatch is not entirely in your head. One of the natures of the value of Counterwatch is the fact that oftentimes the adjustment that is required to outplay your counters is maybe an adjustment that isn't the most engaging gameplay loop. For example, when I'm playing Reinhardt into like, let's say a Discord orb, maybe a Roadhog, Orisa, something like that, the level of swinging that I can do when compared to a lot of the other tank matchups is generally a lot lower. I get value out of holding shield, blocking key resources, taking favorable HP trades. I think Ryan versus Orisa has always been a pretty neutral trade. And then there are certain matchups like D.Va and Zarya where I think D.Va can still be very fun versus Zarya, but you can't actually take the full frontline trade at the same way that you take with maybe some other tanks. And so either you have to adjust and play differently, which is not always super intuitive for lower rank players. Generally, lower rank players is just monkey see, monkey do. First thing that they see, they're going to shoot that. And that's usually the tank, which causes issues with tank counterpicking. But then the other thing, as I said earlier, is also the way that you often outplay player counters may not be as engaging. Like if you're playing Winston versus, like let's say a Bastion or a Torbjorn or a Roadhog, what that essentially does is that kind of removes an optional target for you to dive, right? You really can't interact with that character much at all. So I agree with this to an extent, but I think one of the things that we need to be careful with in our community is being very cautious, and I'm guilty of this myself, being cautious about being counterculture with the statements that we say. There are other creators out there, and I've been guilty of this too, which say that counters don't exist. That is also not true. We don't need to be operating and communicating in extremes. So it's a good point here where like countering is a thing. It is basically where you're picking a character that demands less effort to get more value. But like this player says, sometimes you'll be forced to swap to a character. A lot of people will swap to a character they're not good at, so ultimately they don't actually get more value. And as I said in the hero misery, you guys saw the Winston one, right? If you counter swap the Winston, oftentimes you get countered by the enemy backline. Going to Bastion and Reaper often exposes you to characters like Ana or Zenyatta or Sojourn and so on. So yeah, but so this is good. This is a good thought-provoking one here. One of the most frustrating things as a tank player is when you get the team that's begging you to counter swap but refuses to switch themselves. That is very true. For example, if you're playing Winston, you've got like a Life Weaver Mercy and you're playing into a Roadhog. It's just as much on your supports to counterpick the tank as it is you. In fact, I think supports have a much better matchup versus Roadhog than even the tank. For example, Orisa, Sigma are pretty good versus Hog, but I think honestly, like an Ana deals with the Roadhog significantly more. Or they want you to switch to the enemy's tank counter without taking into account. And the big thing here, and I think I've made a video about this, or I'm going to make a video about this, but the most important factor is the map. Always, like it is always the map. The map is the most important thing when it comes to educating your swap. So, you know, you really should never counter pick if the map is really good for your character. Flashpoint Tracer probably shouldn't be swapping. Gibraltar Winston probably shouldn't be swapping. Sigma or Zarya or even Reinhardt in Circuit Royale probably shouldn't be swapping. But this is something that people don't talk about as enough because it's not as visible. People just focus on and fixate on the most obvious thing, which is the tank. It's not even that necessarily that Overwatch 2 has a tank counter swapping problem. I think that is definitely true, but the visibility of the tank makes it a lot more intuitive to just counter swap tank. Also, I want to talk about something today. Let's have like a somewhat relevant post for this. I want to talk about this with Gavin Winter at some point, because this is something that I've kind of griped about a lot, but I want some closure with. I am a big enemy of rank resets. I do not like rank resets. I understand why they're there when there's a rank redistribution necessary. And I think that they're appropriate in that situation. 100%. I like it. Means I'm good with me. I don't understand the psychology of rank resets. I don't know if that motivates people to play or demotivates people to play. So I'm going to step back from that conversation, and that might be a large portion of why they do them. So keep that in mind. But from an objective standpoint, not about motivating people to play, but from a strategical competitive integrity standpoint, they're, from my understanding, objectively bad. From my understanding, I might be wrong. Let me explain my reasoning. And I've talked about this for a long time. When they first mentioned rank reset, I immediately was a critic because people are like, oh, it's going to put people in the rank that they belong. No, it's not. It does the exact opposite, where there are some people that haven't played for a while. And so when they jump in, they're at a slightly higher or slightly lower rank than they belong, right? But that tends to naturally sort itself out pretty darn quickly, especially with the Overwatch 2 matchmaker, which you have right now, which pretty much sorts people out very quickly. The problem is that while that argument makes sense, like, okay, it's going to shuffle things around, but you're still playing ranked you're still playing games, placement matches with people that don't quite know what rank they're at. In other words, if I'm a Plat 4 player and I haven't played in 6 months, I'm not actually a Plat 4 player, and I'm going to be playing my placement matches as if I'm a Plat 4 player. So I'm still ruining the same games that would otherwise have dropped me a rank. Placement matches move you a little bit faster than your normal rank game, but not by a ton. In addition to that, because placement matches are so important into your actual rank, it is very easy to have a really good day with your placement matches and be boosted, or to have a very bad day with your placement matches and be put in a wrong rank. It makes it extremely swingy. It makes it a lot more volatile for every reset. The thing is that after rank resets, there are significantly more players in the wrong rank. So you go from ruining a couple of games with a couple of players that haven't played in a long time to where the vast majority of the player base is briefly in the wrong rank. You understand what I'm saying? Like legitimately, because think about it, nobody's consistent, right? You have a bad day, so like let's say you would normally play at like a gold 2 level. You have like a gold 4 day. Well, guess what? You dropped a gold 4. Or you're a gold 2 player, but you have a Plat 5 day. You dropped a Plat 5. And so then you have all the games that after the placements, you're either being boosted or you're tanked. So I am convinced that part of the matchmaking complaints that have happened are from the rank resets. The problem with rank resets is it reintroduces randomness and volatility based off of people's inconsistency of quality. In addition to that, the other bad thing about rank resets, and this one is really important. This one is I'm fascinated about here. Listen to this one, okay? It gaslights you and it makes players miserable. I have worked with more players that since rank reset have dropped a full rank and don't know why. I was this rank last season and I'm playing a lot and now I'm like plat 4 and I can't understand why. Let me explain to you exactly what happens. Let me give you an example. And this has happened for 50, 60, 70 sessions I've had in the last several months. Rank reset, do their placement matches. Placement matches go badly. They drop rank. They're in a lower rank than they think they deserve and they think that they got unlucky. Oh, I'm a Diamond 1 player. I'm in Diamond 5. I don't belong here. I'm just gonna carry this game and pop off. Did you hear what I said? I'm just gonna carry this game and pop off. What happens when that happens? What happens when people try to like change the way that they're or try to adjust or compensate or even come in with a lack of respect for the Diamond 5 lobby? They play a little differently, a little worse. They make poor choices. They disrespect, and then all of a sudden they're losing games. And then you know what happens? They get frustrated, they get tilted, they think they're cursed, and they stay stuck in the same rank. And now they went from being a Diamond 1 into a Diamond 5 player because the system broke their brain, and they're actually now a Diamond 5 player. And the opposite's true as well. I've even had situations where like a Diamond 5 player places in like Diamond 3 or Diamond 2 and goes like, oh, I guess I'm this good here. And either they play confidently and manage to kind of pushes them to another level, which I guess is a potential upside, or they're scared. They just get scared of playing entirely. Basically, now all of a sudden, if there's a bunch of people that have like gaslit themselves into like they don't know what rank they are anymore, they don't know where they are, and it's a mess. So that's my big stance on rank resets. I would love to be proven wrong. I was open to being wrong, but the more time I have spent, the more my opinion has become more and more negative of rank resets. If you guys have had big drop loss streaks or have been stuck in a bad rank after a rank reset, the reality of the situation is that the system is at fault for gaslighting you, but for you to climb, you just need to play Overwatch correctly. You just need to play the way you've always played. You don't need to make adjustments. So it is your personal responsibility to fix it, but it's also my personal responsibility as a content creator to raise a lot of questions about why there are so many people that are making the same mistake. I've been playing Overwatch since the beginning. If you're truly skilled, you'll climb. It's not your teammates. For the longest time, I've believed this. I even get this advice, but I've started to question that mindset. Over the past several seasons, I've been playing more than ever. I feel like I'm playing better than ever before. Yet I consistently keep getting matched with teammates who seem to underperform or do not belong at this rank, but not beside doing everything to improve. I've dropped to gold 3. Yeah. So basically, this player, okay. This is the reality of the situation. This is the reality of the situation. If you're Diamond 4 and you've gold 3, you're just a worse player. You're worse. The system might have made you a little bit worse or encouraged that snowball. You are worse. Like there's no way that you individually are playing at anywhere approaching a mid plat, high plat, or even low diamond level if you're gold 3. What's probably happened is that you had a genuinely unlucky or bad streak and you responded to it very poorly. I've worked with dozens of players, even just in the last 6 months, that have had a similar story, and it's always the same story. You always pull up the code and you go, what the frick are you doing? And then generally the reason why they're doing that is because they're upset or distracted or emotionally involved and invested. The game's matchmaker is not bad. The game's matchmaker is fine. The rank system might be bad, but the matchmaker is fine. You're just not that good. Now, I'm going to be going to war for you to help prevent this kind of gaslighting from happening. But yeah, hope that kind of makes sense, guys. It is a very confusing topic that is exacerbated by systems that I don't think are fully thought out, like the matchmaker, or like the rank reset and the placement system. But then the unreliable narrator / egotistical / lack of self-reflection / lack of self-discipline of the player base takes that awkward system and makes it into a really, really ugly mess. And that's the problem with these. That's the problem with these. Comp anxiety and shame. Hi guys, I'm an autistic girl, PC hit scan player. When I play comp, my aim always gets extremely shaky and I become anxious, stressed out, and ashamed on every missed shot. I play Ashe the most, but the social anxiety and panic makes me scared to scope shoot on her, so I've only been picking soldier and I can't ever finish a kill. I play submissively and very clumsily. I die a lot. Everybody else in comp is so confident, try to make plays and take duels, but I can't build the courage or confidence to do it. I've been on a loss streak, so I'm covered with shame, and I know that I don't deserve the rank. And the solution is to play more. I feel so ashamed of myself. I always have the least damage and the most death. I try to aim train. I don't know how many hours to put in my aim in the game. I always get affected by anxiety and panic. Do you guys know how to overcome the fear that stands in the way of performance? Yeah. So the best way to do this is to just play more, like she says. So she's on the right track. You just need to play more. Man, these kind of situations are tough. You need coaching. You need coaching. You need somebody to be in your ear telling you to shut up and calm down. You're doing a great job. You know what I'm saying? Like you legit need somebody in your ear telling you to show. No, I don't think Vax is the play here. She already says that she does a lot of aim training, but when she gets into rank, she gets shaky and anxious. So that's the thing, is she just needs to keep playing rank. But you do need somebody to be able to kind of pull you out of the competitive side of it and just be like, hey, you're just playing here. I think the biggest thing here would be don't join voice, don't join chat, set some small goals, and just play. Just play. Yes, you desperately need positive reinforcement here. I think the only objective two things that this person needs is positive reinforcement and repetition. Positive reinforcement and repetition. I think anything else is just goofy advice, which wouldn't really help. She just needs positive reinforcement and repetition over and over and over again. And so what might be useful for this player is to practice giving herself good feedback. Okay, I did a good angle there. That was a good angle there. That was a good angle there. Like self-talk, which normally I don't really think is crucial and maybe a little bit overrated and a little bit corny. But honestly, this player might benefit from some self-talk and just positive. Nice. That's good. That's good. Nice job. Okay, keep going. You're doing great. Just keep yourself motivated off of that. I had a lot of competitive anxiety when I first started playing. I just kind of grit my teeth and play through it, and then I managed to kind of get over it. But if this person is really struggling to grit their teeth, they need someone to help them to make that transition. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Self-feedback doesn't work if you're gaslighting yourself. Yeah, it's very difficult. Yes. It's basically kind of like the idea of somebody that's struggling to improve at a skill and it's kind of hit a brick wall. Somebody being in their corner can be a great, community really helps to provoke change. This is also pretty good advice as well. If the process really isn't feeling good for you, then don't roll with it. I will say that this is an opportunity for this player to develop themselves as a person and to overcome a weakness that, I think building the confidence, here's the thing. You build confidence by doing things, right? So if this person is somebody that struggles with confidence outside of Overwatch, forcing themselves to grit their teeth with some support and just get over it with repetition, that's going to build a lot of confidence, because you're going to be like, hey, I've been in a really painful, agonizing, nasty, stressful situation, and I conquered it, right? I beat that, right? We used to deal with this kind of stuff all the time with mixed martial arts. Young kids, teenagers, adults, anxious about it, stressed about it, and being able to face their fears but obviously the thing about that made it a lot easier is because they have their team, the coach, myself, or whatever else, providing positive reinforcements, and encouraging and keeping it fun. And that's why it was so much easier, but doing it by yourself is hard. But if she's able to do it, huge W if she could do it. Yeah, I've played 85 hours in a row. I can barely get diamond. I have 10 hours in Brigitte and playing. So with lower numbers on characters, it might be that number one, you're playing a really good character, a really easy skill floor character. It could be a bit of luck, placement luck. We talked about that one earlier. The other reality is that the first character that you learn generally is the character that has the most baggage when it comes to bad habits and the slow it, because you were learning first-person shooters when you were playing Roadhog. You were learning Overwatch. You were building bad habits, building good habits, and learning how the game works. And then you pivoted to a new character. You brought your mouse control. You brought your awareness, you brought your idea of what Overwatch is all about onto a new character and immediately got better. That's how it works. You bring baggage into a role, and you bring baggage into a hero, and then also you're not starting from scratch when you learn a new character, right? You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from all the fundamentals that you can pull into that. A lot of them even mechanical. So all these questions kind of, in my opinion, miss the point here.